Welcome back to breakHbarriers. My name is Blessing, also known as Lady B. On this channel, I do as much as possible to base my discussion on culture, humanity, and habits, but most especially culture, because when it comes to culture, it helps describe how people behave and groups of people behave, either in a community, a country, or in a group. I find it intriguing because I believe it helps to understand what must have made a person or a group of people to choose to behave the way they behave. And what also intrigues me is seeing sect of people or groups of people or even a community in a particular region of the world behaving almost equally the same, not all the same, but almost equally the same, agreeing to the same value system. And then you go to another part of the world, you see the same thing. So it differs, but universally there's a common culture within the human belief. For example, every culture believes a person murdering another person is evil or not acceptable. Most culture we agree that when a person steals, it's not acceptable. That's universal. But there are so many aspects whereby there are differences. For example, I'm going to use marriage as an example in this discussion. For example, when you go to some countries, the culture in those countries is that a woman must be submissive to her husband. But you go to some other cultures, it's different. I'm going to make my example based on alphabets. For example, when you go to culture A woman has to be submissive to her husband 100%. And then you go to culture B, where other people live and have a totally different value system to culture A. In that culture B, the woman is free to be herself to an equal level. The value system is that everyone is equal, regardless, or shall I say, culture B is trying to bring everyone in that society to an egalitarian level. So in an egalitarian society, there's a level of fairness, whereby regardless of what gender you are, you're brought to some accountability. And when it comes to marriage, because I'm using marriage now as an example, in that society, the woman has a level of freedom and protection to be herself. So my discussion now is when it comes to marriage and you find that a person, say for example, a man who grew up in culture A decides to leave the culture A to travel all the way to culture B in order to embrace a new life, probably for study, for work, or any other reason. And then while living in culture B, finds a woman and decides to marry the woman. Now, how would you think that marriage is going to survive or grow, or how will these two people be able to embrace themselves without drawing a line to say, okay, this is my value, what's your value? Or asking questions. You must ask questions. I mean, when two people agree to come together as a couple, either cohabiting or being married, you need to ask questions and make efforts to understand each other's culture, ethnicity, and the struggles that come with that. Because even if you're from the same ethnicity, the same country, the same town, whereby the value system is the same, you're still two different people brought up in a different family setting to the other, and every family setting is different. So it's really important. Don't just say because we are from the same country, or we are from the same community, we are from the same town, so there shouldn't be any problem. Don't just conclude that being so, it's all going to be easygoing. No. So the fact that you're from two different cultures even makes it more important for you to be able to sit down and discuss this matter, because it's going to crop up. Your love might be blind to those differences while you're still dating, but by the time you start cohabiting or living together as a married couple, it will crop up and it will become an issue, especially if you haven't discussed about it prior you're living together as a couple. It might end up being a big issue. If it's not from the two of you, the cultural difference is going to be brought up either by your family members, friends, or even the country that you live, the society that you live. It's going to come up. I remember when I was growing up, there was this couple that was from the same country, different ethnicity, culture. One was from the Igbo culture and the other one was from the Yoruba culture. The one from the Igbo culture was the woman, and the one from the Yoruba culture was the man. Although they are from the same country, the same continent, that still didn't bring the unity that was needed to keep that marriage together, because the family of the woman from the Igbo culture did not want their daughter to marry the man from another culture. That's the Igbo culture. I mean, these are neighboring states whereby the cultures are somewhat similar, but again different, and that was a big issue. This couple were not allowed to get married. They had to leave the country because the father of the girl swore that if the girl end up marry the Yoruba man, he was going to disown her and she will be bringing shame into the family because of the cultural difference and historical events that had happened in the past. So cultural difference, it's a big deal depending on the person involved, especially for couples who choose to come together as a union. So it's something worth taking into consideration. It's something worth looking into. It's something that both parties have to sit down and discuss. Don't be shy or be withdrawn from discussing these topics. Whatever challenge it might be, it's best to discuss it before you go into it. If not, they will definitely pop up later on in the marriage. There's even a case that is trending now in social media. I don't want to mention name. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. So there's that case, which I believe the cultural difference must have played its part as well in that marriage. This does not just go for couples from an entirely different culture and region of the earth. This is not about, for example, a Caucasian marrying an African or an Asian marrying a Caucasian or vice versa. The cultural difference is not just about that wide gap. It's also about people within the same community but have different value system, you see, and that creates friction. So it is really worth considering. I wish I could go ahead on this topic, but it's really a huge topic which I will be breaking down bit by bit. culture is what we as humans should be paying great attention to, which I personally believe we are not. Rather, we are concentrating on complexion, habits, belief system, religion. Religion plays a great role as well. So yeah, with this I say thank you very much for watching. I will see you some other time. Take care now. Bye.